Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Top 5 Tuesday. The last few ones of these that I have done movie reviews, so I'm going to go a little bit off of that and give you guys my top 5 favorite zombie movies of all time. I'm a big-time fan of zombies, have loved zombies my entire life. It is definitely one of my favorite subgenres in the horror world, so I'm down for it. Any kind of good zombie film, I'm all here for it. So, without further ado, let's get into my list. But first, before we get into the movie, I'd like to welcome you all back to Cody's Horror Channel. I am your host, as always, Cody. If you guys do like the content that you see on my page, please like, share, comment, subscribe to the videos. It does wonders for me. I am on TikTok, I am on Facebook, and I am on YouTube. So please go ahead and like all my socials and follow and comment away. I'd love to hear from you guys. So, without further ado, let's get back to the video. So, as I always do with these lists, I do have a couple of them that come in as honorable mentions. Starting off with House of the Dead. I remember seeing this when I was younger and just thinking it was really cool. I love the video game elements. I know it's based off of video games. And I just thought the vibe of this one was cool. I liked the whole haunted island. I just liked everything about this one. I thought this was a really neat movie. Another one that I really liked was Land of the Dead. I thought this was cool. I liked that the zombies got smarter, that they learned, that they kind of adapted to what the people were doing. And because of this movie, every 4th of July, I always call fireworks sky flowers. I love that way more than fireworks. So thanks to Land of the Dead, that is now what I call fireworks. So coming in at my number 5 spot, so this one I actually debated quite a bit. But I put a movie in here that's a little bit more of a recent movie, and I like the idea behind it, and that is World War Z. I know a lot of you have seen this movie. It's one of the highest grossing horror movies that's ever been, and a best-selling book, too. I've never read the book, but I've heard it's very good. But I like the concept behind this that you don't see in a lot of other zombie movies, which is that this virus actually picks its host. If you guys watch the movie, and I'm sure many of you had, there are different people who are suffering from severe ailments, and the zombie will pass them up. I think there's a young man that has cancer, an elderly person who's obviously not a good host for this, and these zombies just run away from them because they are not a good vessel to carry on the virus and spread it the way they want to. So I always thought that element of World War Z was cool. I hate the zombies, the way they run. That is always terrifying to me in these. I like the nice, slow, like stumbling zombies. So the World War Z zombies are terrifying as how fast they are, but I like the concept of knowing your host and wanting the best host. And man, do they turn quick and violent. So coming in at number 4, and I know for a lot of people this may be a little bit lower on the list, but it's one of those ones I just had to put on here just due to the impact this had, and that is the original Night of the Living Dead. I am not a big black and white guy. I do understand, though, what this movie meant for the culture, and that is solely why it is on this list. It is a good movie. Obviously, it gives us the gateway to zombies. If it wasn't for the success of this movie, nothing else on this list or any other list would ever happen, so it has to be up there. Obviously, the zombies are awful. They're just people with white face paint and black eyes. But again, you don't really know what you're gonna do. The movie is good. It has cool scenes. The zombies are creepy. The vibe is creepy, and it is just a good zombie movie for its time period. And it was the godfather to everything else zombies ever came. So definitely going to put that one on my list. All right, so let's crack into the top 3. So this one was a little bit more interesting as I had 3 of them in mind, and I was kind of shuffling them back and forth, but came down to it finally. And my number 3 movie is Return of the Living Dead. I remember seeing this as a kid, and I absolutely loved it. Loved Tarman. I loved all of the stuff about the graveyard and the burning of the body, which brought the smoke down, which resurrected all these dead people. Obviously, all of the stuff in the warehouse where you have the half cadaver dog that comes alive, and them hiding. And obviously, there's always the famous line that I can smell your brains. So in this, to me, was the first time I really remember in a zombie movie where brains were the main thing. They wanted to eat your brains. That became a huge thing in the zombie world. So this movie has always held a special spot in my heart. It's obviously got some really cool characters, really cool premise. Everything about this movie was just really enjoyable. I will say, though, I will confess, I've never seen anything but the first one. So I've never seen any other ones, and I know Return of the Living Dead 3, I believe, gets a lot of credit. A lot of people very much enjoy that. So maybe as I watch more of those, this list might change. But for now, Return of the Living Dead is my number 3 favorite zombie movie. All right, so coming in at my number 2 spot is a newer movie. I remember when this movie came out, I feel like it got a lot of love, but I feel like it died out very quickly, which I don't necessarily understand, because this was a phenomenal movie. This movie is Army of the Dead. So this is a newer Netflix movie that I thoroughly enjoyed. I've seen it a few times. I've always enjoyed watching it. I can see the argument about it not being a zombie movie, quote unquote. I had a hard time with that, kind of balancing it back and forth, because as you guys know, there's only one more movie left on my list, and there's a couple of them that I have left off. But since it's more like a government-made super soldier that kind of broke out and then infected the whole city of Las Vegas, and they are zombies, but like at the same time they're not. The super soldier starts to talk. His queen gets pregnant. So it's just kind of interesting. It's not very what you think when you think of zombie movies, but it still is a zombie movie in the end. Love this movie. I love the scenes. I love the emotions that you feel from the zombies themselves. This is one, if you guys have not seen, definitely watch. Tons of action, tons of kill, tons of cool zombies. I do like that they implement a little bit of zombie animals in this one, as well as there's a zombie tiger in this movie. So go ahead, check this one out. It's on Netflix, Army of the Dead. It is a very, very cool zombie flick. So rounding out my list at number 1, to me, is probably one of the standalone, just greatest zombie movies of all time. Not necessarily just on my list, but would probably be on a lot of people's lists. But before I get to my number 1 spot, I do want to talk about a couple that did not make my list, that a lot of people may think should be on the list. One is Resident Evil. I do know that has some play in the world of the zombies. To me, it's not necessarily a zombie movie. It's more of like a government lab created thing that makes you into these weird mutant creatures. I know it has zombie elements, but just not for me. Another one is Train to Busan. I have never seen that movie. I have heard glowing reviews about it. I have heard very, very good things about it, but I've personally never seen it. So maybe once I've seen that again, that may creep into my list. And like I've said, nothing but good things about it. And another one that may surprise people that isn't on my list is 28 Days Later. I am not a fan of 28 Days Later. So far, I've seen 28 Days, 28 Weeks, and 28 Years. I've not watched Bone Temple, but out of those 3, I've only liked the second one. And it's not necessarily a zombie flick like you would think, because this is just kind of passed between you. You don't have to get bitten. You can just have blood drip into your eye like it was in the first movie. And even the director and writer of this movie said this was not a zombie movie. So that one did not make my list. So, with all that being said, the number 1 movie on my list is Dawn of the Dead. This movie, to me, has one of the top 5 best opening scenes in a horror movie. Just the pure panic, the pure fear, just the crazy angles of her rushing home from the hospital, the angle of the car getting T-boned into the gas station, just everything about this movie was amazing. I love the whole mall scene. I love that they're up on top sniping. The whole just rah-rah at the end, getting the bus ready, driving through downtown, getting to the island, which sadly is infested by more zombies. But just everything about this movie was really cool. You saw a bit of elements of everything. You even got to see a zombie baby, which was fascinating. Just this movie was really, really good. It still had the terrifying, super fast zombies, which I absolutely hate. If this ever happened, I would definitely want the nice and slow ones. But for sure, one of my top 5 favorite zombie movies of all time. Clearly my number 1. It's been up there for quite a long time. And I also just, in general, don't think this movie gets the kind of love it deserves. Up until this point, obviously, you have some of the older ones like I talked about, but zombie movies really kind of petered off. They weren't really a hot topic anymore. And then I feel like when Dawn of the Dead came back out, it revitalized the zombie franchise. It brought back a lot of these other movies like World War Z and Zombieland and Army of the Dead and Walking Dead and Z Nation and any of these other movies and TV shows that got really popular. I feel like they owe a lot to Dawn of the Dead because it brought back zombies into the world of the people. And it was just kind of lacking up until that point. So with it, let alone being my number one favorite zombie movie, I feel like we need to put a little bit more respect on the name for Dawn of the Dead for what it did for the zombie community and bringing zombies back into everyday life.